years, there has been this weird mystery around Meghan Markle's pregnancy with Archie. At first, it was just a few rumors on Reddit. Then came blurry YouTube videos, TikTok theories, and people zooming in on every photo of her belly like they were detectives on a mission. Most of it was just ignored as nonsense, trolls and conspiracy theories, right? That's what everyone thought until now. Because now, people who are close to the palace, real insiders, not anonymous usernames, are finally speaking out. And what they're saying is wild. According to them, the whole pregnancy might have been faked. Not just private, not just secretive, but fake, like prosthetic belly fake, like moon bump fake. You'd think that kind of thing would be brushed off instantly, but the strange part is how off everything felt, even back then. No hospital photos, no official due date, no photo op outside the Lindo wing like every royal birth before. It was all a mystery. And now we're hearing that it wasn't just a quirky choice. It was a plan, a cover-up. Meghan allegedly wore a fake bump during all her public appearances, while the real birth happened in total secrecy. But why would they do that? Why go to all that trouble? It's one big story of all their biggest complaints and a bunch of self-congratulating nonsense. Harry and Meghan sold their royal status to become reality TV stars. Palace insiders say it wasn't just about privacy. It was about brand, about image, about building a story the world would fall in love with. A modern couple escaping the old royal traditions, protecting their baby from the media circus. That angle worked, didn't it? Meghan and Harry built a billion-dollar brand off that story. The image of a young, loving family being mistreated by the monarchy. It sold Netflix deals, podcast contracts, magazine covers. But if the foundation of that story was a lie, if the pregnancy itself was staged, then what does that mean for everything else? Here's where it gets really complicated. Royal lineage isn't just symbolic, it's a big deal. You can't mess around with royal births. There are rules, protocols, and a whole legal system to make sure the heirs to the throne have verified lineage. If Archie was born via surrogate, and no one told the royal family or followed the official royal process, then his place in the line of succession could become a huge problem. Not just emotionally, but legally. And then there's Harry. What did he know? Was he part of this decision? Was he in on the alleged deception? Or was he kept in the dark too? Either way, it's not a good look. If he was involved, it's a huge betrayal of the monarchy. If he wasn't, it opens up a whole other dark conversation about what this marriage is really built on. The palace hasn't said anything officially, but insiders are leaking more and more information. And the tone has changed. It's no longer about protecting Meghan and Harry for the sake of family unity. It's about protecting the monarchy itself. The Queen may be gone, but Charles and William aren't playing the same game. They've drawn a line. Enough is enough. Even former staff members have started talking. People who worked with Meghan during the supposed pregnancy are saying nothing added up. No signs of a nursery being set up. No one was allowed to ask questions. Medical details were off limits. Some aides even said it felt more like they were helping with a movie production than a real maternity journey. And now, as the truth seems to be coming out, it's like everything else about Meghan and Harry's story is being looked at differently. This isn't just drama. It's royal history about to be rewritten. Behind the palace walls, things are starting to change. Quiet investigations, old documents being looked at again, travel logs, medical appointments, or the lack of them, are being looked at closely. The royals are done pretending this never happened. They're asking tough questions now, and not just for the sake of gossip. This isn't about scandal anymore, it's about lineage, legacy, and the monarchy's very foundation. What makes this even worse is the timing. Just as these rumors are getting louder, Meghan and Harry have started trying to get their kids back into royal life. Titles, public roles, even hints about participating in official events. Yes, the same family they've been criticizing for years. The timing is not just strange, it's calculated. That's what people inside the royal circle are saying. According to sources, it seems like a strategy shift. Sympathy might be running out, but influence is still up for grabs. And the kids are their next move. Whether it's using their names for public branding, mentioning them in interviews, or arguing they deserve royal privileges, Meghan and Harry seem to be trying to turn Archie from the rebellious outsider to an insider again. But here's the problem. If Archie's birth wasn't legitimate in the royal sense, then what happens to the legitimacy of any role they're trying to secure for him? There's a real fear in the palace about setting a dangerous precedent. If Meghan and Harry can leave, trash the royal institution, and still claim benefits for their children, what message does that send to the rest of the family? To the public? To future royals? And more importantly, what kind of chaos could that cause down the line? This is why the palace isn't staying quiet anymore. They've tried grace, they've tried restraint, but now they're relying on rules. If a surrogate was used without telling the crown, then the whole process around Archie's birth would have violated royal rules. That's not a small mistake. That's a crisis, a big one. And that's just the beginning. Because if Meghan really planned this whole thing, faking a pregnancy while keeping staff in the dark, hiding details under the cover of privacy, and building a public image around it, it becomes more than just deception. It's manipulation on a huge scale. A made-up story used to get sympathy, money, fame, and power. Some former aides are starting to speak out. They remember being told not to ask about anything medical. Meghan keeping a distance from normal maternity stuff. No baby shower with staff. No consultations. No signs of preparing a room for the baby. People were treated more like extras than trusted staff. One even said the whole thing felt like it was managed like a production, not a real pregnancy. And it's not just aides talking. Even extended family members and former advisors, people who once defended the couple, are starting to change their tune. They feel used, like they were protecting a story that's now falling apart. One advisor reportedly said they'd never seen the royal family so united on a single issue, not even during Megxit. The deeper the palace digs, the more urgent things feel. This isn't a scandal that can be buried under PR or softened by a well-timed interview. If it's true, even if half of it is true, it could make the monarchy rethink how it protects the integrity of its bloodline. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about Meghan and Harry, it's about the throne. The palace has always played the long game. Tradition, duty, image, but this time the stakes feel higher. If the story around Archie's birth falls apart, it won't just hurt Meghan and Harry's reputation. It could change the public's trust in the rules of royal succession. And if those rules can be bent under pressure, what else can be questioned? What's happening now isn't being shouted about on TV or in press releases, but within royal circles, insiders say the conversations are intense. Charles is reportedly furious, not because of the noise, but because of the implications. If the crown knew about a violation this big and didn't say anything, it could make the monarchy look either complicit or clueless. Neither is acceptable, not when everything depends on legitimacy. William, they say, is less emotional but more strategic. He understands the long-term damage. He knows his children, especially George, will one day have to carry this institution. Any crack in the system now will be a burden they'll have to deal with later. That's why, according to sources, he's leading the quiet, internal push for answers. He's doing it strategically, without mercy. What's worrying for Meghan and Harry is that they're not backing down. They're doubling down on their claims. They're still pushing for their kids to be called prince and princess, still asking for public recognition. They want titles, visibility, status, exactly what they left behind. The hypocrisy is obvious, and for the palace, that's the tipping point. There's talk of legal action, not from Meghan and Harry, but against them. If documents, emails, or internal memos show any deception tied to the birth or the use of a surrogate without approval, it could lead to a full constitutional review. Some think that's unlikely, but others think it's inevitable. Either way, the idea that this is just a tabloid distraction is fading fast. This is serious now. Public opinion is split. Some still defend Meghan and Harry, holding onto the idea that they were treated badly, driven out by racism and harsh rules. But others, especially traditionalists and constitutional experts, are getting louder. They want transparency. They want records. They want to know once and for all if the monarchy was tricked by a carefully planned illusion. And then there are the Commonwealth countries like Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. They're watching closely. A lot of these nations have talked about breaking away from the monarchy for years. If this turns into a huge scandal, it could speed up those conversations. The crown's reputation is its strength abroad, and right now that reputation is taking a hit. There's also the money side. Meghan and Harry have made millions off the image of being young, wronged royals with the perfect family. Every interview, every streaming deal, every podcast has been based on that image of a loving couple protecting their children. But if that story is fake, the companies backing them could face backlash. People don't like being sold fake stories, especially when it's tied to the royal brand. One former palace insider summed it up like this: It's not just a scandal, it's a betrayal. And betrayals like this don't go away. They stay inside the palace walls. The palace may never go fully public, but their silence isn't protective anymore. It's punishing. Invitations have stopped, doors have closed. The institution is quietly pushing Meghan and Harry out. No more second chances. No more olive branches, just distance. Whatever the truth is, it's not going to stay hidden much longer. The story they've built is falling apart. And this time, there's no safe place to hide. The Crown is watching, people are asking questions, and the answers could burn everything.